What's good, YouTube? It's your boy coming to you guys today with the locals tournament report that I told you I was going to bring you early in the week. And if you follow me on Twitter, hey, you should follow me on Twitter at SlenderRevolutionX. I get a lot of my ideas from there. A lot of a lot of videos you guys want to hear, and you're going to hear about videos that I'm going to be putting out way earlier than generally before I even make them. But nevertheless, getting into the locals roundup. I took Magical Musketeers. The deck did really, really well. I ended up going X1, got third place. My only loss was to first place. He was playing ABC Spell Striker. In round 1, I played Altergeist. Round 2, it was 6 Sam True King. The deck was really explosive, I won't lie. Round 3 was the ABC Spell Striker, and last but not least, round 4 was Pure Spell Strikers. I ended up winning in time by 100 life points. It was pretty insane. Probably the most insane thing about time, but that's another argument altogether. Like, that rule is insane. There's no reason that should be implemented at all. Not only does it, like, ruin the integrity of the game, but I'm not gonna lie, I felt like trash after I'd won that game. Like, I felt horrible. You know, I don't even know if there was a way. I mean, I don't know if I could have won, but I sure as heck was not in a winning position. I'll say that. And then just to have it time called, my man finished his battle phase, attacked me for 100, or attacked me for 1100, and then it brought me down to 19 to his 18, and I ended up winning. And it was my buddy too, so like, I was just like emotionally taxed after that. Like, it was a cool feeling initially, but then I was like, wow, I just felt like I sharked somebody for a win. It was pretty bad, but nonetheless. So, round 1, I played Altergeist. My buddy Jordan, he's been in a few videos. Ended up 2-0ing Jordan. Game 2, he had card in hand, card on board, and then cards in the graveyard. And I ended up making Trish. And that's just a blowout. Like, Trish is insane. And I think Muskets have a really, really good matchup against Altergeist. Because it's just like, sure, activate your back row. I have 3 negates that I can activate from him. I have 3 hand traps that negate spell or trap. 3 hand traps that negate monster effects. That don't even count as real hand traps. These are, between cross domination and the spell. I honestly can't think of its name right now. But anyway, so played him, ended up winning 2-0. We've play tested a lot, so I think I very much know the Altergeist deck in and out. The impermanence sometimes can be an issue, but if they don't have it and you end up opening a cast bar, or anytime you resolve ties going first in this deck, it's just you just put your opponent at such a disadvantage. Game 2. Or round 2, ended up playing the 6 Sam guy. We're in this back room, right? Alright, so here we're going to go off on a little tangent. Something I know I never do. But my man is sitting there. I'm facing him. My buddy Jordan's behind me playing. I open up. I want to say I go first. I open up. Castbar ties. I summon Castbar, right? This man goes to my buddy Jordan, looks at him. He's like, dude, did you really lose to this? And I was like, dude, don't disrespect this. Like, what kind of game is it where you think you can just run around saying that? Ended up destroying him game 1. If I resolve ties, I'm getting 2 monsters plus a card to hand, not to mention if I could play anything else behind the Kid Brave or the Dock, or just like, it just generates so much advantage. So, turn 1, blah, 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 pass. Do all the ties plays, pass. I end up outing all of his board. Entire turn 1. Loses. Game 2, he ends up making some huge board with Nap Beast. I misplay by not summoning Castbar and using the, what did he use? Like, I didn't have Desperado in hand, but I had a way to resolve a card to search for Desperado to destroy the Nap Beast, and from there, I had a cross domination in hand. And things would have been looking up, but I ended up misplaying. He ended up making True King Calamities and a couple things. Not that True King Calamities is bad. Like, I'm unaffected by that, because the fact of the matter is, like, if I can resolve this and if I can resolve a cross domination in damage step, like, that's just you're just losing that. Game 3 opens up. I want to say I resolved ties again turn 1. I saw ties a lot yesterday, but end up just completely outing his board. He ends up having going into like a defensive play after I Desperado one of his Miriams, and then he still has a Namazu, the Fire True King. He just throws that thing in defense because he's got 1900 defense, and passes with a card in hand, Namazu, whatever his name is, it's fine, in defense mode, and passes to me. And, I'm trying to just smash this dude because I don't like people that disrespect the game for what it is. I feel like that's super ignorant. So my man, I was just like, dude, I'm going to make Trish. He was salty, just scooped his cards up, walked away. I was happy to do that to him, because this deck it's real. It's real. You get somebody that knows what they're doing with this deck, not saying that I do, because I could be completely wrong in the way that I play, but I think that I have a decent build with some level of skill, to say the least. So it was nice to get a win for somebody who was especially trash-talking the deck openly, and my man was playing 6 Sam's True King, so, I mean, I don't really know how he finds room to talk, but it's fine. He did end up coming up later to me and say, I've never seen that deck piloted so well, which was nice. It was nice that he kind of saw the effort and hours that I've put in with this deck. And then round 3, ABC Sky Striker. Game 1, I opened up 5 monsters going first. Summon Caspar, pass. I think I had an Effect Veiler in hand. Regardless, it was suboptimal, to say the least. So he does his plays, ends up making ABC Dragon Buster. I draw into, I believe, another monster. I think the only spell and trap I see the whole game is a duality. And I want to say that with that duality, I want to say he gammaed my Caspar, which was, good on his part. But, I have a bad matchup against ABC as it is. He goes into Buster, ends up dealing enough damage to win. Game 2, I'm like, all right, I just gotta see, I gotta just see some spell and traps and some monsters to open. If I can resolve ties, that's gonna be good. If I can resolve, a Caspar turn 1, regardless if it's ties or not, like I'll be in decent position. So I side in Cherries for the Buster Cannon because I know I need to get over that. I know that I need to deal with that issue, and Cherries is the way to go. So I open up my hand, I believe it's Cherries. There's a Cherries, there's Caspar duality. Or Cherries, Caspar wasn't in my hand, but I know between Cherries and duality and Ties of the Brethren, opening hand. So my thing is like, I duality, get the Caspar to hand. So I know my follow-up play is to Ties of the Brethren. I know that if I set Caspar, he destroys it. I'm in a really bad position if I don't have another monster. But I know I have Cherries in hand, so my whole game plan was, okay, set a card, pass. I had Scolding, wasn't Scolding, but regardless. So I passed with an open board because I was like, all right, as soon as he summons a monster, I'm going to Cherries away the Buster and be in a really good position. And up to this point, I hadn't seen any Sky Striker cards game 1 just because it was such a blowout because I just couldn't play. And that happens sometimes, but it is what it is. So he ends up summoning Ray, has the Engage in hand, double Hornet Drones, goes into Kagari, ends up dealing 5k to me, and pass. Of course, I draw into another Ties of the Brethren, so I'm sitting here with 2 Ties of the Brethren, Solemn Scolding, and I think those are, and the Caspar. I think that's my cards. Just off the top of my head, I'm trying to recollect, did a lot. So I was like, well, I have to try to resolve this Ties. Summon, Ties, he Effect Veilers the Caspar. So I'm just struggling, man, because sure, I get 3 monsters on board, but I don't have any other cards that I can resolve sitting there with 1,000 life points. I have the Scolding and the Scolding and the other Ties in hand, so I'm just donezo. So he ends up beating me 2-0. Definitely my 2 most disappointing games of the day. I don't mind losing, but losing in a way that doesn't really get to show off your skill and isn't a great game. It's kind of disappointing. So round 3 over. End up going into round 4. Face my buddy Nick. He's playing pure Spell Strikers. Game 1, I forget how it ends up. One of us, each of us win a game. We go into round 3, or go into game 3. I open up fairly well. He opens up a few ashes, and I think that really interrupts a lot of my plays because the ash on the cast bar is really strong. But we end up taking. I mean, this is a grinded game. I think I dealt with all 3 of, not Kagari, but the other Link Blue. 2 of the Kagaris, and it's just like we're grinding, and my deck does really well to grind. It ends up getting down to a point where it's a shame this Kid Brave wasn't a cast bar, because I had a Kid Brave on board with usable Musketeer Trap. I think I had a Cross Domination and I've been talking this whole video, and a Last Stand in hand. So I had a usable Last Stand, usable Cross Domination in hand, past him. He ends up making Kagari again off of Hornet Drones. I'm at 3,400. I want to say, no, I'm at 3,000 to his 3,400. He goes into what's his face, ends up attacking me in battle phase, damage step. I'm dropping the Cross Domination, making it 0. He takes 16. So at that point, it puts him down to 1,800. So then he ends up making Blue Guy, who has 11 Speller Traps engraved. I guess it was 11. It might have been 12. So it's putting my it put my Kid Brave at 400 attack to his 1,500 attack. My man attacks. At this point, time has already been called. So I'm sitting there with 3,000 life points to his 18. So he attacks, does his play, deals 1,100 damage to me, puts me at 19 to his 18. And he's like, well, shit. I don't have anything else to do. I have no way. And I was like, oh. And at this point, I was ecstatic. It's just like really taxing. Like I was excited to win, but I also felt really bad because he showed me his back row. It was 2 Solemn Strikes. Had time proceeded as normal, he made the correct play to gain advantage by crashing the Kagari or the Ray. I forget what. I would assume it's Kagari because then he went Ray and then bounced out into Blue Guy or something along those lines. But anyway, he made the correct play to gain advantage. He had 2 set strikes. He had 1,800 life points. All it would have taken was him. If he strike my monster, it was over. It was over. So it's just a shame to see time affect the game in that kind of way now. It's interesting, but I'm just not a fan. Story for another day. So anyway, we go. Evaluation, I end up getting 2nd or 3rd. I'm pretty sure it's 3rd. And open up my packs of OTS 5. I went for the Brilliant Fusion, the Terraforming, and whatever it is. Anyway, went for that pack. Pulled complete garbage. It's fine. I'll pull an ulti out of those packs one of these days. But for now, I'm just excited to be back in the game and playing a pretty consistent amount. I'm not going to lie, MVP today was Ties of the Brethren. It's like a tie between Ties or Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave, people always make a comment. My buddy Nick made this comment afterwards, and he was like, why do you always have Called by the Graves in your deck? I'm a huge fan of main Called by the Graves, and any deck that needs to seriously resolve effects that don't get hand trapped, Called by the Graves is insane. I want to do a discussion on that in Ghost Bell, just like which is better. But in Sky Striker matchup, Called by the Grave being mained, I remember game 1 banishing that Ray and then crashing his monster, and it sets them back. Banishing the Ray, not letting them use 1 next turn. If they don't have a Hornet Drones to go into monsters, they're just pass. And then you're just able to do more crazy things. And for a deck, right now, people are running 9 hand traps. My least favorite card today was Magical Musketeer Starfire. I've legitimately contemplated cutting this card. Starfire... So, theoretically, the only good situation that Starfire puts you in, bear with me, is if you summon Starfire, have a Upstart or Desires or Steady Hands to resolve behind him to get you the cast bar. And the only way that that's even an optimal play is if you also have Ties of the Brethren in the hand to then use on the cast bar. Because it's just like, Starfire doesn't do anything for you. Especially turn 1. Like, if I have one playable spell or trap, and I see Starfire and another Musketeer, that other Musketeer, unless it's Doc turn 1, is inherently better. Just because, like, you steamroll advantage so much, and it's such an advantage game. Like, you're just you're playing this game of attrition with your opponent. Especially if they're playing Spell Strikers or any variant of that deck. Like, you're just playing this game where it's like, well, I have more cards than you do, so I'm in a better position to win this game, and I know it's going to go into later turns because that's how the game works. Like, you're gonna go deep into games nowadays. Like, unless you're playing certain decks that like even the Goki matchup, you can go into later games or like into longer games, and Starfire is just, I saw it too much being a dead card, so I might swap that out for like some tech spice. But it's, I'm playing the same list as profiled on my channel, so if you guys want to see the list, go check it out there. And it's, I'll be back next week with another tournament report. I should be going next Friday, so you'll probably see it Saturday or Sunday, depending on how long it takes to render, because I see that this is now a 16-minute video. Great. So if you guys like this, if you want to see more of this, if you want to see, my tournament reports, hear about how I'm doing, hear about what I see at the locals, I enjoy doing it. But make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Just give me feedback to let me know that you guys like what you're seeing. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. And as always, guys, remember to subscribe to join the revolution today. The channel's slowly coming back up. We're going to get an intro. We're going to get a better outro. It's going to be lit. So stick around for some more Yu-Gi-Oh content, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.